the Pentagon can fail their budget and not be able to account for $5 billion. But if you Venmo somebody more than $600, you better be able to account for it. So can you explain this Venmo meme and also explain, like, obviously I pay Chris tens of thousands of dollars a year for marketing activities and graphics and podcasts and assistant in the coaching.
No, you don't.
So I have to issue him a 1099. But then it's like, if you pay a corporation, you don't have to issue them a 1099. Can you explain a little bit, like, this Venmo thing, where they really are or are not trying to find you for $600 I gave my 21-year-old kid for books?
Those are two really good points separated, like the Venmo 600 and then the S corporation. So I can tell you also know your stuff. So this is really in-depth stuff. So let's just try to make it simple. The Venmo thing, I think, happened recently, right? And this is more like, this is unrealistic. I don't think the government currently has the system to do it. When they do come up with this new coin they're coming out, maybe the cryptocurrency, they're trying to, supposedly, I'm hearing stuff on the internet, there's nothing official, right? I only get it after it's official. That's when I become an expert and I can go read it. So when things are just ideas in Congress and they're voting about it. So I know there's a new currency coming up for America that they're trying to make it digital. And supposedly when America stops using 60% of we're close to like 50 right now, but supposedly when it's like 60% non-cash, they're going to introduce this thing. So people are still using cash and it's kind of slowing it down because they don't want to circumvent or cut off the economy by saying this is the new wave. So I think what I've heard, and this is not a tax expert, this is like internet rumors because there's no information on it.
This is tinfoil hashing.
Yeah, this is exactly. So they're waiting for 60% of credit card users versus cash use. And then they're going to be able to introduce this because everyone is already digital. And at that point, they probably will have the ability to track every transaction because there won't be any Zelle anymore or anything like that. The government will be the one. This government system that you sign up for will be the one controlling all the transfers and knowing that you're Joe Smo and who you are, right? And you probably won't be able to access it without that. So it's almost like, I forgot the country. I think I don't want to name a country, but it's a country in Africa. They tried to stop cryptocurrency by saying they can only go through a bank, right? And that's how they say you got to go create a bank account and this, that, third. But that's it goes against cryptocurrency because the entry to barrier. So there's no entry to barrier. You can go to a store with cash and buy some. Right. But now to have a bank account, you might need ID and this, that, third. So it kind of slows down money transferring. This freedom of flow is what cryptocurrency is or electric money is becoming. So that whole thing, I think that's in the pipeline and they're putting it out there and there's no real way to track it right now. But eventually, yes, it sounds let me just say this, right? I had a person that I used to work with and it was like yellow flag, right? We call it red flag, yellow flag, green. And she wanted to report her money, but she was a stripper, right? Or at least that's what she told me. I didn't know exactly what she did, but she had large amounts of money that she wanted to report, and she was reporting
probably so she could get a home loan.
Exactly. So her mortgage told her, I know you have a lot of cash, but your tax returns, you need at least 2 years, right? So she came to me to report the income. I'm not in a position to really audit her. I'm just saying and the IRS is not really auditing you for income, right? Unless you are going through like a payment system where if you're just the honest truth is if you're dealing with cash, and that's why so many businesses we'll give you a discount for cash, right? Because they know it's hard for the IRS to track it, right? For those people that are trying to avoid that. But she's technically receiving dollar tips every day at the end, and maybe technically, I think the strip club is supposed to be writing down how much the tips are and potentially giving her W-2. Unrealistic.
Yeah, that not happening.
Everyone's drunk at the end of the night. Is like, how much you guys? That's your money, right?
Yeah.
So, but she wants to report hers, and so she started reporting large amounts of cash. So the IRS is probably not going to come and audit her and say, you reported $80,000 last year in being a stripper or a performer, dancer, right? You didn't get a 1099, right? There's no paperwork associated with this, but they're not going to probably audit her in her income. What they might audit her is her expenses, like, the lingerie or whatever else she's buying or doing to support that business. That's more likely where the IRS is coming after you. So it's almost like, don't ask, don't tell. I know that's kind of a controversial topic, right? But for the military or whatever, but it's almost like that with the IRS. It's like we rather you report it, because if we actually find you with a large amount of money, say some other situation, like I heard about this guy, he had like $8 million in his house in the walls, right? Right. And now he had to prove where that money comes from. So they're saying, like, if we find you with all this money and you don't have receipts to show where you got them from, we're going to assume you're money laundering, and then there's going to be not criminal investigation on you and things of that nature. So they're saying if you have the money and you you don't have to tell us exactly where you're getting it from. We want you to report it. So no one's actually saying that, but they're trying to read in between the lines, because they're saying if we find you with this money and no receipts, we're going to charge you for these things. Mm-hmm. So if you have this money, you might as well pay taxes on it. And then it's kind of a loophole where he reported that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we don't know where he got it, but he reported that.
Do you think we will get to a system either because digital currency comes into the system, or just tracking the financial dollars will become so ubiquitous and so easy because, you know, everything's through Zelle, which is through Chase, and Chase has to report all the numbers to the government? Do you think we'll get to a point where, like, you know, it's 2023, right? And I give my son, he's 21 years old. He has a full-time job. He's going to college. You know, when he needs money for books or something, I'll Venmo him $500. Or when I have a really great month in the mortgage business, I'll Venmo him $1,000 and be like, hey man, I know you crashed your car. Here's some money to put towards savings. Do you think we'll get to a point where, like, in a few years, I'll get that little nasty gram from the IRS where it's like, we think your tax adjustment should be, or no, my son will get the nasty gram from the IRS where, like, we see that you got $2,600 in Venmo deposits this year. We have nowhere to track that. Your father didn't issue you a 1099. So we think you have $2,600 of additional earned income. You owe us $400 in taxes. Do you think we'll get there eventually?
100%.
Oh, I opt out. How can I opt? Can I just buy gold?
Cash.
If I was Ben Shapiro, this is where we would enter a commercial for gold, right? Like, buy gold. It's untraceable. But like,
and the value changes. Right?
And the value changes. Yeah. It's just like, I kind of want to, like, I just want to opt out of all this shit. Hey, this quick interruption is brought to you by me, Scott Groves, the host of the On the Edge podcast. This podcast is brought to you by me. I'm a loan officer who can help you with a mortgage in all 50 states across the United States. I also coach loan officers. So if you are a home buyer who's looking to get a mortgage, if you're a realtor who's looking to partner with an awesome loan officer, or if you're a loan officer looking for coaching, get in touch with me. It's those sources of revenue that allow us to produce this podcast and get out a new episode to you every week for the last couple of years. So if you're looking for a mortgage, if you're looking for a mortgage lender to partner with, or you're looking for a mortgage coach, I'm your guy. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.